Welcome back, everyone. Sheepdog Smokey here, and yet again, the media, Democrats, and all of their little sycophants rush to spread blatant lies by twisting words to their own benefit. You see, I believe it is Georgia, but I'll get down to there in a moment. But we have a Marine Corps veteran running for Congress. He vowed to fight socialism, and the media is accusing him of threatening violence. Pardon me. What actually happened was this gentleman released an ad showing the socialists in Congress who are pushing to turn our country into a socialist hellhole. He then showed photos or video or both of his own time in the service. Now, as this article will go on to say, there is no threat anywhere here other than the threat by Democrats of how dare you run against me. But if you know anyone who is in the U.S. Marine Corps, you will know that threatening violence for political reasons in civilian life is not only the very last thing they would ever consider, but the very first thing they would do is to stop someone who actually did. It's also very convenient that this article just happens to ignore that Maxine Waters is on video telling her sycophants to, and I quote, get in their faces, push back, let them know they're not welcome anywhere, end quote. This, of course, happened before we saw Sarah Sanders and her family chased out of a restaurant, or senators like Mitch McConnell, who had someone come in and harass him at his table. We have seen Antifa, the nice cowardly thugs in masks, assaulting people because those people are part of a private group who were holding a private meeting and inviting a speaker they wished to hear from to said private meeting that the cowardly thugs in masks weren't going to be attending. This is the new liberal mantra, the new liberal play of the decade. If you can't force, if people won't obey you, force them to by violence. If that doesn't work, escalate. We've seen all over Twitter prominent conservative voices actually threatened. You need only look as far as Dana Lash or Caitlin Bennett to see what happens when someone doesn't bow to the liberal machine. Now, I think they've made a mistake because now they've absolutely and blatantly lied about a United States Marine. I am blessed in my life to know several Marines. And I will tell you, in the case of at least two of them, we did not get along at all in high school. Now, as I've said, I did not go into the military. I was actually talked out of it by a recruiter. At 18, I would have gone AWOL. I would have not done well. And they recognized it and were honest with me. Knowing what I know now, I wish I could go back and do it, but I can't. But after their boot camp, after serving their first tour, although all but one of them served multiple, we ran into each other again. And both of us had grown up. All of us had. And we get along famously now. Because despite my not serving, I very wholeheartedly agree with their way of life. I can happily tell you they would be the first one getting between a congressman they don't agree with and someone threatening said congressman. And vowing to fight socialism is not a threat unless you consider not being allowed to tax Americans into poverty so that you can live a lavish life while telling them this is all we can give you this month. You'll have to just get by on this soggy bread because we just don't have the money. And then go back to the mansion and drink and party until midnight. You see, this Marine knows better than most what socialism does. Because this Marine, like most conservatives and Southerners, has researched. And this Marine may have even seen socialism in action. And that is something no one should ever want. At least no one with a brain in their head should want. Uh, Obviously, Congress has reenacted in order to be a Democrat in Congress, you must have a full lobotomy. But this is yet again, it is just another smear campaign filled with lies, innuendo, and twisting of words to mislead voters. Notice they don't ever actually accuse him of anything. I do have to say that I absolutely love the interjections here where we say, note the words cut and add in the above sentence are not should not be taken to mean anything violent. But as you get into this, you'll notice it is Carolyn Bordeaux capitalizing on this moment to find some advantage over the young black war veteran. He is also a multi-generation veteran. The video, I'm not sure why, but my browsers don't like video. I wouldn't be able to play it anyway because I've yet to figure out how to get that video over to the one I'm recording without taking out my headphones. What I want to know is how anyone could be so moronic or duplicitous and moronic to actually believe that this kind of crap is going to fly. Now, I've called out a lot of people for a lot of things, and by and large they ignore me, they block me, or they just double down. One great example is, and I'm sure a vast number of NRA members have had this happen to them, I've actually been told I'm a member of a terrorist organization. My instant response is always, then you have a duty to contact the FBI and report me. I'm sure Twitter, if you do so, will be happy to help them find me, at which point I can show them screenshots of your threats against my life. And I always do go get screenshots of all of their threats against me, which almost always culminate in accusing me of terrorism. But as you read through this, none of them actually say, I have been threatened. They use hyperbole. They use twisting of words. You'll notice that even when New York Post gets on to this, Georgia GOP candidate appears to threaten Ocasio-Cortez and Sanders in video. Appears. They're hedging their bets. Because as liberal as the New York Post is, as off the deep end crazy as their writers are, they know that if they actually accuse this veteran, this congressional candidate, of a crime, falsely, they're going to have to answer for that. It's much like when I was talking about the Kavanaugh hearings and Christine Blasey Ford. Note that she never filed a police report. She never contacted law enforcement at all. She supposedly wrote a letter to Congress, and then in testimony she remembered something happened somewhere at somebody's house 30-some-odd years ago. Some people were there, but it was definitely Brett Kavanaugh, and it's definitely a reason for you not to confirm him. Had she actually filed a police report for that, she would have been guilty of filing a false police report. You'll notice that none here actually do. It's just twisting of words. None of them have the spine to actually deliver on their insanity. Because as you can tell from all of this, if any of them actually went to police and said, this man has threatened members of Congress and he should be arrested, law enforcement is going to look at them, look at the video, and laugh in their face and say, if you file this police report, you will be guilty of a crime. And they all know this. They can't stand that they have yet to actually get a stranglehold on law enforcement in this country. You see, they're watching as their so-called red flag laws are garnering opposition from law enforcement to the point where we have county sheriffs openly saying, I will go to jail before I do this because it is unconstitutional. They can't stand that they have no arm to force their agenda on the country, so they have to go with lies. And thankfully, they're gone so far off the deep end that people are waking up right and left. But I've talked about this long enough. Let me know what you think in the comments. Just remember to keep it civil. We don't learn from argument, we learn from debate. As always, please remember to like and share this video, as well as to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you're among the first to know of all new content as it is posted. Until next time, everyone have a wonderful day.